When Kobe and I decided to create a podcast and coined it the Father-Son Podcast, most would feel this is a gimmick for the podcast, and that couldn't be further from the truth. From the day Kobe was born, I introduced him to video games. This was a way of life for me, as I can remember my father buying me the Odyssey home system, where the cellophane field that clung to the TV determined what game you were playing. Kobe's love for video games grew, as did the bond of a father and a son. When I introduced him to online play, his world opened to new heights. He learned quickly that the incredible gaming experience wasn't just something shared between a father and a son, but there was an entire world that shared his passion for gaming. Gaming was just part of his upbringing, as school or sports was. We always made arrangements that a video game experience was just an arm's length away, even when we went on vacation. As Kobe got older, our experience took us to the road, experiencing events like the Great E3 to more modern events like Summer Game Fest, the Xbox Experience, IGN, and PAX. Kobe graduated from college and now works in the video game industry on the Xbox team. So, as you can see, it was nothing but natural progression to now share our experience and love of the industry through our podcast. Now sit back and enjoy the ride.
And what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Active Reload Gaming Podcast, or the Father-Son Gaming Podcast. My name is Kobe, aka Kobe127. This is Kevin, aka Octane699. Everybody, welcome to our very first podcast. We are so happy to have all of you here. I see a lot of you popping off in the chat for this incredible ride that we are about to go on. Kevin, how are you doing today?
Not too bad. One of the things I just want to start with, as you saw the video, and it kind of set the tone of what we are and what we're about, being this father-son journey. We're not only talking about new games, but I want to really stress that Kobe and I are both collectors. One of the things that we were at when we were just out in LA, we went down to the SoCal Gaming Expo. We met for those that don't know, the Pixel Game Squad, great people. We also met Mort. I just want to take a step back here. Mort, if you ever watch this guy is so nice on his YouTube channels. He's even 10 times nicer in person. We met Retro Rick. We met Caleb from Phoenix Reseller, all great people. We met Rad Junk. I think if you want to check into their stuff, I think they have Rad Weekend coming up very soon. Check them out. Outstanding people. And I want to just shout out my boy Nate. He introduced me to too many games outside of Philly. I'm in Pennsylvania. He also introduced me to probably one of my favorite brick and mortar retro stores, which is Planet Retro Video down in Quakertown. Dan, the owner, outstanding. His staff between Ed and Steve, outstanding. All I got to say is if you're into Whatnot, if you don't know what Whatnot is, check it out. They got one of the best Whatnot streams that I've seen. I buy stuff for them that's fun. It's great. We sit in all day. Great bunch of guys down there. And I know Kobe, being in the retro world too, also has some of his favorite stuff.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is we are on two opposite sides of the United States. I'm on the West Coast. I am located in the Seattle area. He is on the East Coast. So we get to go to many different video game stores, whether or not I go back home or he comes out here for visiting. And one of my favorite ones that I've experienced in Seattle is a local store called Pink Gorilla Games. And if you aren't familiar with Pink Gorilla Games, they have 3 locations in the Seattle area. One of them's in University District or U District if you are local. Another one is in Capitol Hill, and the other one is in International District. We were lucky enough to actually meet the owner, Kelsey, of Pink Gorilla Games when we were at Summer Game Fest. And we actually got to have a pretty good conversation with her. Kind of talking about the business and like what she sees, like the triumphs and successes of owning a video game store. And I think that's one of the things that I would love to highlight during these podcasts is just the love of gaming and how the game industry is way more beyond just the software development side, the hardware development side, and the people who play games. There is so many people that go into the games industry themselves. And I think that is one of my goals is to highlight big and small, everyone who makes it up. And I do want to say, as said in the video, that yes, I do work in the games industry. I am on the Xbox team. However, my thoughts do not equal my employer's thoughts, and I will not be elaborating on a lot of Xbox things to preserve the integrity of the team and the people that I work with. So I just want to
called an NDA.
Yeah, it's just something that I want to get out there. But I will be talking about a lot of other things, and we're going to be diving deep into many different topics. And I just kind of want to ask you, Kevin, why did we even start this podcast? There's tons of podcasts out there, tons of gaming podcasts. And it's like, what makes this different? Why listen to us?
Well, I think the fun part with it is, and Kobe approached me about doing this, and I'm like, you all hear my voice. I hear somebody say about my G's, the voice in there. I have vocal cord cancer, so I wasn't one that was going to actively want to go out here and put my voice out there. But Kobe says, you know what, it makes you stand out. Everybody knows me, the guy that with the voice. So, I'm on, with a lot of things, and they say, who's Batman? Again, I get it. I'm all good. Doesn't bother me. But every day that Kobe leaves work, the phone call comes because he drives home and we talk games. My wife, who's a saint, all growing up through Kobe's childhood, this was the dinner table. We talked games.
And this gives an outlet for us to talk about it, to save her from these conversations.
Correct. So again, Kobe said, why don't we do it? I said, I don't think we could do it. He goes, but Dad, we do this every single day on the way home from work. Why not put it out there for people to share? Because honestly, we have debates back and forth about, the old gamer versus the new gamer. We have debates that, old games are 10 times harder than new games. We have debates that when I was a kid, you got 2 games a year and you played them all year. And, him growing up, he got 2 games a week. So again, there's a lot of different old generation colliding with the new generation that we want to make this, fun. We have stuff set up already for future podcasts that we have some other influencers coming in. We have some esports coaches coming in. We have some esports players coming in. So we want to make this a little bit different. I have set up that we're going to have one. And again, one of my favorite brick and mortars, Dan from Planet Retro Video Games. He's going to come on. He's going to talk about his, before he started, how to start a video game store and so forth. So I think we got a lot of great topics that we're going to jam into this and hopefully make it entertaining for you. And the best thing that you could do for us is, you can see at the top here, just go to our social media, just get in there, send a like. You know that's what drives this. That's what keeps things going. I'm not asking for money. I'm not asking for any. I'm just asking you to like, share it with your friends, come back. Let us get the feedback, because your feedback to us is going to make us better. And the last thing that I have to say before I pass it back to Kobe is, we also have, and you see it scrolling at the bottom, we just started ActiveReloadGaming.com, that if you want to sell your collection, I don't care if you have one game, 1,000 games, no collection too big or too small, you can get on there. You can submit a picture, or if you're really into the retro video games and you're into price charting, you can upload your price charting URL. We'll give you a price. If it doesn't work for you, we're fine. I want you to get the best rates that you can for it, and push on with it. So that's another thing that we're doing. But
yeah, and going back to the podcast, the one thing in terms of the socials up top, I do want to say, join our Discord. The QR code is right there. You can scan it and get in. And I know some of you may be here for the Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3+4 Digital Deluxe Edition giveaway. We are going to be giving away 2 copies of the game. One of them is going to be on the stream itself. And the code that's going to be given on the stream itself will be an Xbox Play Anywhere code. So that means you get to play the game on Xbox, PC, or battle.net. The second code will be given away on our Discord, and we will be giving away a Steam key there. So for those who join within the next 24 hours, or if you have already joined in the past before this podcast live stream, you will be eligible to win the actual game. So I would like to make sure everyone does that. We will be picking randomly within the chat. So without further ado, I do know that we have a special guest for today, and I'm going to pass it back to you, Kevin, to kind of introduce our special guest.
Yes, one of, again, longtime friend of mine, DJ Soto. If you don't follow him, go out, Soto Gaming. He's on most of the platforms. He has made a living out of streaming video games. We're going to talk a little bit about my history with him, because we got a long history together, and we're going to ask and open it up for questions. Kobe's going to ask him, you may wonder, how do you get started doing it? Can you do it? What equipment do you need to do it? So forth and so on. So we're always welcoming some questions in there. But without further ado, I want to introduce one of my long-term friends, DJ Soto. He'll be coming in right now. And please look at the stream at the bottom. You can follow him on those different places to stream. But DJ,
what's up, man? What's good?
Welcome to the podcast, DJ.
Oh man, this is like old times, man. What's happening? Octane and Kobe.
What's
happening? It's good to be here.
Let me tell you, DJ and I have probably been gaming, and I'm not talking casual gaming. I'm talking gaming for probably 22 years-ish, back in the original Xbox games.
Some people watching aren't even 20 years old. What are we talking about? This is crazy, man. What's happening here?
And I think the funny part is, there was probably, and I'm not joking and exaggerating, and you correct me if my memory's wrong, there was probably about 3 years straight that we gamed every single day.
Yeah, the Xbox 360, that's one of the golden ages of gaming, the 360 era. And I think we rocked the 360 in all those games. I mean, we're talking Halo, Gears of War, Call of Duty, and then whatever else was coming out.
Battlefield.
Battlefield. We were rocking Battlefield 2. I don't know if anybody's played that one. But yeah, we were rocking that console for sure. And I think we were playing every night for the most part.
Well, let me tell you, for those of you that don't know, and DJ and I will stand on this to our deathbed. For those of you that played Halo 3, there was a game mode called Griftball.
Yeah.
And for those of you that don't know Griftball, it's 2 sides. You pick up a skull, you try to run in, and you have blockers, your teammates blocker, like football, and you try to put it in the end zone. Well, DJ and I created the first reverse. DJ would be on this side of the field and would run, and the blockers would come, and I'd go against the grain. And I'm telling you, it took precision. He dropped the skull, I'd pick it up, and it had to be quick. You pick it up, and I would run it in, and I'll take that to my grave.
Yeah, we invented that.
We invented
we
that.
did.
And then,
Yeah.
then when it came to Battlefield, you put DJ in the helicopter and put me at the gunner. There was no
We were
touching
wrecking
us,
up, wrecking
Yeah.
up.
We would wreck that up.
The problem with this podcast is, what do we have, an hour? Dude, we could talk for 5 hours.
Yeah.
About we just break down just Halo and Griffball. We could talk about that for 30 minutes. And then
Correct.
Gears of War for 30.
yeah.
And then, people in the chat are talking about Battlefield. We can talk about that. We would rank up on the leaderboards, and we wouldn't even kill people. We would be like doing engineering, medic stuff, and we would always be on the top 5. So yeah, some good times.
And anybody that follows me on my socials, you'll see my favorite. I'm a Gears of War fan. So DJ and I played Wingman. That was 2v2v2 for the longest time. And I'll still take it to my grave that I created the roadie run flip. The idea is to roadie run and get the guy to chase you. And when he's chasing you, you would just stop dead. Anybody that has watched Top Gun, when Tom Cruise is in front and he says, I'm going to put the brakes on and let him fly in front, that's where I got that from. And I'd flip and I'd shotgun him. And I'll take that to my grave. And we created the roadie run flip. But
that's fun.
He used to come to my house. And in my basement, I had a big screen TV. And I had another roll TV that I'd roll into my storage. DJ would come. That would be our split screen. I'd have 2 big screen TVs, and we'd just play all day. TVs. But,
so much fun.
Yeah, and I'll before I get into the next question, I'll leave you into one of my little things. One day, DJ used to work with me, so he'd come into my office all the time, and we'd talk video games. And this is before there was voice chat and the Xbox and everything. And back then you'd get invites and everything else. And DJ and I were talking, and I get this invite one day, and I accept it. And I didn't know, because it was DJ's son, so we didn't know tags back then. And I get this message, and it's like, "Hey, Kevin," and I'm thinking to myself, how does this guy know my name? And he's like talking about where I live and this and this. Now I'm panicked, and I shut off my Xbox, and I went in. So the next day I'm sitting at work with DJ, and I come in and I'm like, dude, the strangest thing in the world happened. This guy knows me. He goes, dude, it's me.
Yeah. Well, that was like the first gamer tags when they just came out. This that was all new. You know what I mean? So it's not like we know Xbox today, all these years later. Everyone knows what a gamer tag is and sending invites. That was like the beginning of console online. So you were probably freaked out, like, this guy's trying to scam me or something like that.
I thought it was. But I want Kobe to bring up this surprise picture, and the picture's not that good because I got a real bad glare and I couldn't get rid of it. Yeah. But bring it up and keep it up here for a minute. This is Halo 3. And
that's a classic.
Yes. For Christmas one year, DJ graciously gifted. This is a big poster framed, and it still hangs in my basement today. If you look at the orange guy in the middle, that's me. The guy all the way to the left, that's DJ. The guy in the red is Kobe. And ironically, as we're talking about our friendship for 20 years, the guy all the way to the right is Kyle. And Kyle, if you want to just kind of make that parallel, Kobe, of who Kyle is.
Yeah, so Kyle is my best friend of 20 years now, and we met on Halo 3. And kind of like a similar situation to you and DJ. So when I was younger and playing flag football, I had met another kid at the time, and we just started talking about video games. And he said that he was big into Halo 3. And at that time, I was also getting big into Halo 3 and wanting to play with someone. And this was even before Xbox party chat. So a lot of it was relying on game chat. So I friended him, and I start playing Halo 3 custom games with him. And then he's like, "Oh, I have a cousin who also plays Halo 3. Do you mind if I invite him?" And I'm like, No, not really. Just go for it. And Kyle joins the game chat, and we start, playing together. And all of a sudden, Kyle is like, and I see Kyle in the chat. What's good, Kyle? Kyle is like, I think I live down the road from you. And I'm like, do you? And he starts explaining what our house looks like. And I'm like, oh, damn, you really do live down the road. So then we just started hanging out and playing every day. And we still play to this day. Even, I think the power of gaming is so strong because even like when we kind of split apart for a while, because of college and high school and stuff, like when Diablo 4 came out, we came back and picked up right where we left off. Like nothing ever happened. Like it's just gaming brought us back together. And I talk to him pretty much every day again. So it's just gaming can do a lot and it's really cool.
Outstanding. But what I want to do from here is I want to kind of go into in a minute. We're going to start talking about what the podcast is about, asking DJ to kind of get into and talk about his road of how he started to do the streaming, and Kobe's going to ask him some questions. But before we do that, we have a quick 20-second sponsor break here. So Kobe, if you want to just quickly run the sponsor, and we'll get into the podcast.
Got games you don't play anymore? Turn that collection into cash at ActiveReloadGaming.com. It's fast, it's easy, and you get paid quick. Or if you are looking to buy, check us out on eBay or scroll through our games by console. Find us at ActiveReloadGaming.com. And welcome back. So we're going to get into the next half of the podcast, but before we get into the main topic itself, I'm going to ask a simple question. DJ, what are you playing right now?
Oh man, that's a rough question because you know what, the backlog is so large, right? And Octane, we were talking about this the other week, I think, where this is an unusual time where there are bangers coming out on a regular basis, and you can't even keep up. And they're not just like okay games; they're like really good. There was Roadcraft that came out. You had Night Realm or Night Rain, whatever you call that, with the Elden Ring team. Dune just came out. We've been rocking Dune, and so it's hard to keep up with all the games that are out there. But my main jams at the moment is Dune Awakening, a fantastic survival MMO. Love that game. It's great. So we've been doing that quite a bit. There's a game that's a railroad game, like a railroad simulation called Railroader. And that's a fantastic game too. When we've been doing a lot of that, you can have up to 32 players on a server, and with dispatch and running trains and different things like that. And then some party games like Peak came out. We've been rocking with Peak. There's this game called Dawson, which is like Among Us, but if you're playing the Office television show. So man, we're just in all these types of games trying to keep up. But I guess the main one at the moment would be Dune and Railroader. That's the two main ones. And then we're trying to keep up with these other ones.
Yeah. I've been meaning to get into Dune Awakening for quite some time now because I am such a fan of the movies and the books. And it's just one of those games where my backlog is massive and I'm finally been chipping away at it. And I know Dune is going to take hours away from me. Yeah. And because it is a survival MMO, but I also know it's so accurate to the Dune universe and just a treat to play. I've watched many videos on it and it's do I do it now or do I wait for the console version to come out to play with some of my friends? It's between a rock and a hard place. And I do, the Dawson game, I have seen that pop up and peak before. I know many of my friends have actually talked about it before. They seem relatively fun.
Yeah, and I'll say this about Dune Awakening, which is unique to any other game. So, on Steam where it tracks your hours, I got to 100 hours in Dune faster than any game. So I certainly have other games that I've hit 100, 200 hours. I think I'm almost 200 hours in Dune, but I haven't done that in a month. So in a month, within 4 or 5 weeks, I'm almost 200 hours in Dune. That's unique. So the game's good. You definitely got to put some time into it, but it's one of a kind for sure.
And
before I see, hold on, I see in the chat here, because I know Shem, he's got 200 hours into Dune as well.
Oh, yeah. No doubt.
So, and before I move on to Kevin, I want to follow up on a TikTok video that you made. I want to ask you about your claim. Is it the best survival game of this genre?
Yes, the best survival MMO game. Best survival game is kind of questionable. Probably not limited to that category. But as far as an MMO, yeah, certainly. And that team just knocked it out of the park. I think it's Funcom. Is that the name of the
it's
new?
the ones that made Conan Exiles, right?
Yeah, they killed it. They cooked on that game. They did a great job. As a matter of fact, any major IP, Funcom should be doing it. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, whoever wants to do an MMO, let Funcom cook on that one because they killed the Dune universe. It was fantastic.
A Lord of the Rings game would be absolutely amazing. So yeah, Kevin, what have you been playing?
Well, I actually brought it with me to show you because there's some real obscure things. And I don't know that anybody's ever heard of this. And let me just preface this. I'm the old dog. I'm getting tired of playing multiplayer and getting teabagged by 12-year-olds. Like I'm more
too many sweats, man. Too many sweats.
Yeah, it is, man. I can't white knuckle anymore. I got heart problems. I can't do that. I'm more into the single player. And there was one, and for those of you that, again, I'm throwing out a lot of people that we've met, but I met Metal Jesus, and he's the one that recommended this, and it's called UFO Robot Grenadizer, and Grendizer.
What the heck is that game,
I
man?
just finished this, and let me tell you, this was one of the coolest games I've played in a long time. Really? Because it was like a beat 'em up, and then it would go to, the old school, shooter flying games that was a vertical. And then it would go to, somebody told me the name of it, but I don't remember. What's the top down kind of angled view that
like a shoot 'em up?
Kind of like a shoot 'em up. I just finished it. One of the best games I played this year. Another that most people just never heard of because I didn't. I'm playing right now, Made in Skur. Made, like the maid of, and then it's Skur, Sker. I'm into for whatever reason, I'm really into my horror games right now. I'm playing my Gray Hill. It's an abduction. And then on top of it, after all that crazy stuff, I'm rocking my Switch 2 Donkey Kong, which is incredible.
Have fun. Yeah.
So right now, I'm the old man in here. I can only focus on one thing at a time. So I was a guy that I had to play one game, finish it, or bail on it, and then move to the next. This is the first time because, as you guys were saying, the backlog is just so big. I am literally juggling a game on Steam, playing it on Xbox, playing it on PlayStation, and playing it on my Switch 2. I'm literally playing 4 games at once right now, which has never happened. My brain doesn't work that way.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yep. And for me, there's 3 games that I'm currently playing. So I had finished Death Stranding 2. I'm just working on the 100% at this point. I think the game is a masterpiece. Kojima is able to tell such a compelling story while keeping it very morally gray, but also having so much fun with it. Like, I implore Death Stranding is not a game for everyone, but it is one of the most unique games that you will come across. And like I just say, like, give it its fair shot. Yes, it is a delivery game. Yes, you are walking a lot, but the game is also so action packed, and the theming that he is able to portray in his game is so interesting. Like, Death Stranding 2 took turns that I just did not see coming from a game of this style. Donkey Kong Bonanza is the other game I've been playing on Switch 2. I'm about halfway through it at this point. And yeah, it is just so much fun. It's a joy to play. And I think it can be in the talks of one of the best 3D platformers to come out in recent time. Astro Bot last year obviously took the world by storm. Yes. But Donkey Kong is quickly rising to rival it in some sense. I think the game, the way, I don't know if either of you have ever played it, but the game is very reminiscent of Red Faction Guerrilla, where you were able to destroy the entire environment in the game. And Donkey Kong takes that concept and just makes it fun while also being a collectathon. You go around, you collect bananas, you collect fossils, you're upgrading Donkey Kong, and it's also telling an interesting story for like a Nintendo game. Like, I'm actually kind of invested in what they're doing. And then the other game is Rematch. I am sweating with my friends right now.
Oh,
it is. Yeah, Rematch.
I've been playing a ton of Rematch. I forgot about that.
Yeah,
Dude, I'm like 40 hours in Rematch. I just got it like a week ago.
Yeah, Rematch is fire. It's hard. It is a hard game, and you will be like, you're white knuckling the controller, but nothing ever beats going into overtime mode. And it's just that tense situation where both goalies have to be like incredibly like just like locked in to and see where the ball is going. And you're with your other teammates, you're yelling at each other, you're setting up everything. Yeah, Rampage. Rematch is pretty much the new Rocket League right now.
I never played Rocket League, but Rematch I have like 40 hours in it. I only got that a week ago or so. I'm really into that one. I can't even believe I forgot to mention that one. I've just been playing playing quite a bit of it. Nobody likes to pass. We'll have to work on the community with that, and they need to learn how to pass backwards.
Everyone thinks they're Ronaldo if you're playing with randoms.
You can just tell. You're like, bro, pass the ball.
I want to start.
Just before I want to shout out Brandon saying SOCOM in here. Let me tell you, that was my first true online headset. The original SOCOM came with the actual SOCOM headset. That was the first true multiplayer online that I did. It was with my PlayStation 2 that still had the phone connection. It wasn't even, a cable connection in any sense. It was still the phone dial-up. But yeah, shout out Brandon to SOCOM. That was my jam back in the day. I always say I wish, which is another podcast we're going to talk about, like, what games do you want to bring back? Like, what would you see? That's another podcast. Like I said, we got a lot of fun stuff, but in the interest of time, I think we should move on what everybody's really come here for.
Yes, and we're going to transition into the main topic of the show, which is how to get into games live streaming. And I couldn't have thought of a better person than DJ to really kind of help kick off this topic and for people to come back like almost as a educational video for anyone to hop in and see what it really takes. So DJ, I'm going to open the floor to you, and I'm going to start. Give me a little bit of the history of yourself and how you started pursuing this career. Why did you get into it, and the successes and downfalls of live streaming that you've encountered?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a loaded question. There's a lot of different angles we could take and we can unpack. There's nuances to consider. But, overall, I'm just passionate about video games like you guys. I just really enjoyed the experiences, not to get off on the weeds, but I know in the U.S. culture, video games as a whole is looked down on rather than in the rest of the world where it's kind of like, you have esports in Korea and in the Eastern countries, it's more respected, but it's not so much here. And so what I think that's unfortunate is that are these amazing experiences that we have in video games. I mean, like Red Dead 2, I'll put that up against any movie, a book, a Western. Is there a Western movie? Is there a Western book? I'll put Red Dead 2 up against that.
Oh, yeah.
You're talking about Death Stranding too, the uniqueness of that. And so I think it's unfortunate, like culturally speaking, that they're missing out on these unique stories, these unique experiences. And but regardless of that, I've just been kind of passionate about video games and, started streaming a few years ago just for fun. I did some things with Virtual Reality Church. That's a whole other side project. Or I don't want to call it a project. Let's call it a community that I was a part of. And, live streaming for them. So the live stream just was something that I just started doing constantly. I wasn't thinking like, growing an audience. I was just thinking, hey, let's have fun. Let's capture these moments. And over time that did grow. But the catapult for my live streaming was TikTok. TikTok, this new platform that came out of nowhere, grew this a large audience over time, over 100,000 followers as we're having this conversation. But that was kind of like a little bit over time, just kind of building that audience, doing live streams, and not really thinking of myself as a live streamer. And it was just kind of like an evolution, just of constantly doing it, being consistent with it. And then I guess at one point there was like this epiphany, like, oh, I guess I am a live streamer. Okay, let's do this. Let's have fun with this. Because I was doing it anyway. And I had a community. It was, streaming Star Citizen. We streamed a lot of Red Dead Redemption 2 roleplay. Just had a lot of fun with it. And so that's kind of the very short story of getting into live streaming, just kind of enjoying it, enjoying video games, being part of virtual communities, capturing it, When we moved to Texas, I was streaming a lot of Star Citizen, and just really got to that point where I was like, oh, okay, this is something that I enjoy doing. This is something that I think my community enjoys watching, and people started tuning in more and more and more. And I think the day, and I don't know, this might sound kind of silly. I think the day I knew I was a live streamer was when I got stream sniped for the first time in Star Citizen, and I was totally oblivious to it. This, Star Citizen is open world space MMO. You're not going to run into anybody. But this same group of pirates killed me 3 times at 3 different locations. I was oblivious to it. And no, this is not a lie. I woke up. It was like 3 or 4 in the morning. I woke up. I go, wait a second. they were watching my stream. That's how they knew where I was, awesome. and followed me and killed me. And I was like, okay, I was like, maybe I'm a live streamer now. So, yeah, that's kind of the short story of it. I do think TikTok has launched many new live streaming careers. I think Twitch is hard to break into. Not impossible. Twitch is a fantastic platform. YouTube is as well. I think they're hard to break into if you're new, but TikTok provides an opportunity for new careers, new live streamers, new personalities. So, and I still don't think it's too late to get in on that. So if somebody is like, man, I really want to get into live streaming, content creation, I want to do that, TikTok is a fantastic platform. And we can go down into like TikTok is a great discovery tool. Twitch is a little more weighty as far as audience. YouTube pays really well. So there's this whole ecosystem that you're trying to cultivate as a streamer to really grow an audience. And hey, you know what? Pay some bills, which you can do now, which is a crazy thing.
With that, now, again, me not knowing anything, you knowing a million times more than me on this, wouldn't you want to be somebody that just puts it out on every platform that's possible to see where you would hit? Wouldn't that increase your odds?
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely a strategy. And really, because there's different strategies you can go down. Like, are you a simulation gamer? Are you a Fortnite gamer? Like Ninja, when I was watching him, he would stream, Fortnite 4 or 5 hours every day. That's personally something I couldn't do. Like, I like variety. I like simulation games, space games. I like trying different things out. And I think my audience has grown to know that I'm going to be playing a lot of different types of games, which is really good for me. Because I was getting pigeonholed into like Star Citizen, which is fantastic. What a great game. And people start expecting me, oh, you're this streamer and you're this type of streamer, when really now I'm at a positive place for me where I can cultivate different type of experiences. But yeah, if that's definitely a strategy, is to go multi-platform. And I do employ that, but sometimes I just hone in on TikTok because that's where my main audience is. So I do a little bit of both. Yeah. And I think there's value in being everywhere. And I think there's also value on having that laser focus. It just depends on you as an individual.
And let me follow up on that question. Since you said that it's tough to break in, there's a lot of noise out there of everybody doing everything. What do you feel that you need to do to stand out? Because obviously you're not a gimmick guy. You're not sitting there with, a rabbit head on or things that I've seen, strange things. You're not like the old, which I follow him, the old man gamer that plays police simulators, that he's just an old man. I love watching him. And is there a gimmick that you feel you would need to break in?
Yeah, and I do want to follow up on that, being that looking at your stats here, you have 118,000 followers on TikTok. You've obviously cracked some sort of secret. And the other thing I want to add on to this is you said yourself that you started off as the Star Citizen streamer and your audience came to you for that. How has your relationship with your audience been altered over time? And how do you kind of allow your audience to not pigeonhole you? Because I feel like some people might get pigeonholed and feel like they can't escape, and then they get burnt out on streaming. So how can you cultivate that relationship?
Yeah, and I think to try to capture both questions, I think when you're talking about, like, going back to Kevin's question real quick, is like the gimmick. For me, I think it's more about like your personal vision and philosophy. Like, what do you want out of this? Is it to make it a career? Is it to have fun? You kind of want to find what your what your nexus is for live streaming. What's the reason why you're doing it? Because that's going to carry you through. Like, sometimes I used to have just like 5 viewers, right? And you still want to like be positive and encouraging. And I know some people and have quit. Like, I only have one viewer, I only have 5 viewers, and then they're done, right? So you have to find out, why are you doing it? Well, one, for me, I just love video games. I think it's a great, whatever was going on in the video game world, I want to experience it. 2, I love hanging out with, co-op and multiplayer games. Like, Kevin, you know this. We were playing co-op games for forever. That's my favorite type of game, is something co-op, something multiplayer. So I love video games. I love co-op and multiplayer. I get to do that with my friends. Let's stream it and let's let other people see that, because people enjoy that as well. So that's, for me, the nucleus, right? And that's like the core. And it's kind of a weird statement, but die on that hill. So this streaming career, if you're going to call it, is going to live or die on that. Like, I couldn't do like Fortnite 4 or 5 hours a day. I couldn't do these other things. So you kind of have to be yourself. I know it sounds kind of like cliche, but it is true. Like, who are you? What do you want to do? And just go ham with that. Because if you kind of go against that, you're going to burn out. And that's one thing I've seen people with live streaming content creation. It's easy to burn out. And if you got caught up, like, the power of TikTok is discovery, but also the danger of TikTok is being pigeonholed. Oh, well, that's the type of TikTok content you create. That's all we want to see. We want to see you doing backflips every day, right? And there's creators that get locked in, and even one recently tried to switch over, lost a lot of his audience. So I think over time, what I've been able to do is just kind of switch it up enough where maybe I could have grew a larger audience, but I'm growing more of a personal audience. People who are like, yeah, DJ is going to play these games. I like playing with DJ. Let's have a good time. And so that's kind of like my philosophy. Could I do things to drum up numbers, to really push things to another level? Possibly, but I don't think for me that's going to be the long run. I think I would maybe get burned out or discouraged, or I wouldn't enjoy it as much. I'm enjoying the way that I'm doing and how that I'm doing it, whether there's like 5 viewers or whether there's 500. And in the past month, I've had that. I've had 5 viewers, and I've had I think up to 1,000 playing some random ant games. So
I want to add that, because that really resonates with me, and I know Kobe. When we were just out at LA at Summer Game Fest and IGN Live and so forth, we've met a lot of the top, and I'm talking top video game podcasters in the industry. And the biggest thing they encouraged us to do was, look, your first podcast, there's going to be 2 people, your best friend and your mom watching, and they all said to us, play like there's 1 million.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you got to keep going. They said that there may be a time that there's nobody watching, but you need that consistency, because then the algorithms of the platforms you're on see that consistency too. And that was the biggest advice that resonated with what you just said, is they said that to us. Yeah. Like, your mom and your best friend are going to be the only 2 that are
and maybe not even that, right? And I think that's right. Consistency is probably one of the key principles. Whatever you're doing, just showing up, right? That's whether that's 3 days a week, 2 days a week, broadcasting that, hey, this is my stream time. People know to expect you at a certain time, and that's huge. And then, often for me, I don't watch the numbers. I'll turn off the viewer count. And so sometimes I don't know if there's 5 people or 1,000. And somebody was one time was like, dude, you had like 1,200 people in your live stream. I was like, I didn't even know that. Right. And because I do think, like, at a subconscious level, it affects you when you say like 0 or you say like 2 and no one's in the chat talking. Man, turn that off. Get in that game and just start. I'll start talking to the chat as soon as there's nobody in the live stream. I'll hit live and I'm talking to people. I'm like, all right, what are we doing today? You know what I mean? We're all right. We know how to start talking to myself if I have to, right? And then eventually somebody starts chiming in, then you start talking to them. But I think that's one of the main things, consistency. Don't worry about the view count. And it's, if you're thinking career wise, because we could kind of get into the business side of it, it's going to be a long, consistent, just journey. It's not going to happen overnight. I think you'll hear stories of it happening overnight, and that's great for whoever that was. But for many people, like, you hear these big streamers, they've been streaming 8 years. They've been streaming a long time. Yeah. It's a very rare story where someone's got a large audience within a year. It's happened, but that's very rare.
So I'm glad you brought up a lot of this stuff because I do want to segue into the technical side, investments you needed to make in the business side. But there's one thing that I really want to hone in on. I wrote this question down before the stream even started because I think this can resonate not just in the streaming world, but any industry this can be applied to. But I want you to hone in kind of on the streaming side, which is how do you deal with imposter syndrome in the streaming space? Because it's one of those things where I have found like within myself, and I know I've talked to a lot of people, even big time creators, they say, I still don't feel like I belong. How do you fight that psychologically going into every stream where it's like, I belong, I can do this, this is me. Like,
Yeah,
and even
yeah.
like when you said like, oh, I could have 0 viewers and that can affect you mentally, like, how do you fight that psychological battle? Because that is something that I don't see a lot of people talking about. They just say, oh, I have imposter syndrome. Like, let's get into like the actual psychological battle behind it.
That's a really interesting and deep question because I don't know that anybody's asked me that. One, two, that's something that I've recently started thinking about consciously. I was like, oh, this is interesting, and I think it's because of the growing audience. I think it's because as you grow, you get some haters, you get some fans, you get some haters, you get some stream snipers. It's all these things. You're getting contacted by, game companies. Devs want to work with you. Brand deals are possible. So then now your brain kind of like was going from, oh, I was just playing a video game and streaming to like, oh, what we got, a brand deal here? Let's do some business, right? And so I think that that's a really powerful question. And to take, I don't know if this is a silly analogy, but in the Roadrunner cartoon, when the Wile E. Coyote is chasing the Roadrunner, and they're chasing each other. The Roadrunner stops, and Wiley runs off a cliff, and he's like in the middle of the air, and he doesn't even know it, and he's running, and then he realizes it, and then he like falls right down on the ground because he just wasn't. He was like, "Oh, now I'm falling." And I think there's a similar sense when you're like true to yourself, when you're like locked into the game, when you're having fun, and you don't even realize that you're just kind of flying like over the ground, and then there are those moments come where you're maybe start to get some notoriety. You start to get some, press or haters or stream, all those things that I mentioned before. And then you start to turn inward, like in a way where you start to question and doubt yourself. And so I don't know that there's a good answer or I have a good answer for you, but I do think if you can get back to that primal question of why you're playing this game and why you're streaming, because I love video games, I love playing with friends, and then if you can kind of just tune that out, to be honest, and then so you don't start to doubt yourself, you don't start to like cloud your thoughts with this and thinking of yourself better than you are, or even thinking of yourself as less. Just be who you are. And that's like this old school value of just loving yourself and having confidence in yourself. And I think that's what's going to carry you through that like imposter syndrome thoughts that would come your way, because that will come, and that does come. And I think as a society, we already have issues with self, confidence. And I think people, don't like how they look, how they sound. And I'm sure all of us could change something physically or vocally.
My
But when you're
voice.
just yeah, your
My
voice, right?
voice.
But when you're comfortable in your own skin, and when you just grow to be like, this is who I am, whether I get a brand deal or not, or whether I get an audience or not, I think that's like the key. Because as soon as you start going down the other path, which is a gravitational pull, by the way, especially if you start becoming well known, then you're going to become something you're not, and that's not sustainable. And that's where you see, in my opinion, like creators or live streamers that break down, like, whoa, what happened to them? They crashed out, they, they lost their audiences. I think they just entered this world of who they weren't, is my theory. So I don't know if that helps. That's kind of like some principles to
I
think
think
about,
it's an interesting answer because everyone tackles the answer so differently. Like your vision is going to be so much different than what I think, or Kevin, or anyone else in the streaming world. But I think you offered a very powerful insight that I think a lot of people can reflect on. And I think I do agree that you do have to find the sole purpose of to why you were there in the first place. I think that helps you kind of shift your mind back into that place. Kevin, do you have anything? If not, I want to start shifting into the technical aspects of streaming.
No, go ahead into the technical. That's fine, because I'm just being mindful of our time.
Yeah. So I want to start talking about the technical aspects of streaming. Exactly. Let's start with the hardware. how much of an investment do you need to really start streaming? Do you need these powerful microphones, XLR inputs, stream decks, or is it as simple as a webcam, decent laptop? Where do we go from there?
Right. The short answer is just stream. Just whatever you got, just do it. Like, if you're waiting for like the perfect mic, this is not the mic I started streaming with. Who knows what it was? Probably some crappy $20 a side piece mic or something like that. Who knows what camera I had? Definitely didn't have the graphic, the 3070 that I have now. That needs even to be upgraded. But whatever you got, just start streaming it. There's that guy, I think his name is Cash or Cashio, or I forget his name. He's a pretty big streamer on Twitch and TikTok, and he has a terrible webcam. It's like dark, and he's like all out of frame.
Oh, are you talking about Queso?
Yeah, Queso. Is that his name? Queso. Yeah.
Queso.
Yeah, he's got like a terrible production, but he's an entertaining streamer. Got lots of viewers. Some of these streamers are. Started out with just whatever they had, and maybe some of them have nicer stuff now. Like you watch Shroud, or you watch I think Cone is his name. I don't Carnage or whatever his name is. Nice production now, but start somewhere and with whatever you got, and just start streaming and have fun with it.
What software suite do you recommend for someone to use? What skills do they need to learn in order to start streaming?
So OBS is pretty standard. That is a little technical. Like if you're absolutely like a non-technical person, you probably should watch some YouTube videos. What bit rate do I need to be streaming at what resolution? There's all these like back end things. But there's great YouTube videos. You don't have to think. You just go to this guy that says, here's the 2025 best settings for OBS. Great. What are they? You know what I mean? Yeah. And then you plug them in. So OBS tends to be the best one. And I use OBS with Stream Elements Multi-Stream. So that plugin allows me to stream to Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok at the same time and have the chats all up for that. So if you're thinking multi-stream, there's various options, but I do OBS with Stream Elements because that's all free. So I don't have to pay anything. There's paid ones that you can do as well. But I'll also just focus on TikTok. TikTok Studio has their own like OBS version. And there's some different strategic reasons why I only stream to TikTok. Like if I'm needing a boost in the algorithm, sometimes the stream quality is better on TikTok when I just use their studio. And, a lot of my audience is there anyway. So it just depends on what's happening. It's kind of like day trading. I kind of feel out what game I'm going to do and what, system or what streaming system I'm going to use. So which tends to be OBS. But lately it's been TikTok for various reasons. So technically those are some of the aspects. You don't necessarily need a powerful computer. Sometimes you don't even need a webcam. Like I've been streaming a lot of my games without the webcam for whatever reason. I think some games are more immersive if I'm not on cam. If I feel like I need to be on cam, then that'll add something. I'll put myself on there. So you don't even need a webcam. Just get in there, start chatting, start having fun. But yeah, OBS is great. Stream Elements for multi-stream, TikTok Studio to get things going. So those are the main ones that I use.
And I do want to bring in a question from chat from Lady. They ask, what about the attitude you need to bring when you consider streaming?
Yeah, so definitely just positive vibes. I think that's what people are looking for. Like when they come into a stream, they've been working all day, they've been at school. They don't need to come in and to a stream where you're not interested, like in the game or the community. So I think just having that positive vibes, like, man, we're having a great time here. Hey, how you doing in the chat? And trying to respond as much as you can with the chat is huge. That's like over half the battle. You could be a great streamer that doesn't acknowledge the chat. I don't think you're going to go very far. But the best ones are with the chat as much as they can. So I think that's the attitude that you need to bring. You need a little bit of a thick skin because people are going to come in and say, you suck, your game sucks, whatever they're going to say. Right. And I got that today. This game looks boring. You're a bad streamer. I don't think they had said that in particular, but I wouldn't be surprised if people came in and said that. So you got to have some thick skin, laugh it off. I've seen some streamers get really angry at the chat and start attacking back. And I just think you're going to lose some people and it's a waste of energy. So positive vibes, thick skin. There's some logistics you want to think about. Try to get a moderator or two, have a friend say, hey, listen, maybe you're at work, but you can have my stream on and you can be a moderator if something happens. You can take care of any trolls or spammers that come by. And, that's something you want to think about. So there is a little bit of like a system and structures around streaming to think about, which is the technical aspects you're talking about, the attitude and the personal vision you have, having people willing to help you, like Rampage and Lady in the chat. They help out on my TikTok streams. And so I have a moderator team that comes in when they can just to help out with, people who are trying to spam or being unkind. 99% of the time, everyone's cool, man. We're having fun. Yeah. We're streaming games. We're talking about games. It's a good time. But there are things you need to think about.
Yeah, I think one of the things to add to that, though, is, and DJ, I've been telling you to do this, and you're hopefully going to do the first step out at PAX West. And Kobe and I have been out at these events for the gaming, but end up getting within the community. There's a massive community to learn from out there that are streamers and podcasters. That the thing we found when we were out there, because they kind of encouraged us, because they're like, a father, son, like they don't see it anywhere. And that's kind of the angle that you take. But the big thing, they're so helpful. Like you would think they're competitors, and they're so helpful. It's just like when I opened up and I gave the shout out to Planet Retro, and Kobe gave it to Pink Gorilla, and we're going to try to resell. There's enough to go around for everybody. Like, I don't look at that as competition, and that's the way these podcasters look. Like, they were so helpful to Kobe and I when we were just toying around with this. So I think getting into the proper community and getting to those proper events can help boost, your self-esteem about it, but help get you in that right thing. Like, they'll give you the proper path to go down.
Yeah, and that what you said was huge. Where there's plenty for everyone. Like. We don't, as far as streaming, I don't know how many billion people are in the world these days, but there's 1,000 people that could watch you, 2,000, 5,000. There's a whole article about 1,000 fans is all you need to be do this full time. So there's plenty for everyone. There's no need to gatekeep. I'm willing, I love sharing and promoting others. I think that's important too. So the more you give, the more you get.
Sure. And that's why I gave a shout out to all, the other YouTubers that I know and so forth. Whether they watch this or don't, there's enough to go around. They were kind to me. That's why in the beginning I showed them. They gave us some advice. They talked to us, so forth and so on. So I agree. There's no bitterness about anybody, man. There's enough to go around for everybody.
And that definitely loops back to what I said in the beginning, which is this is a games industry and it's a community. Everyone wants to help one another. And there's two things. Before we start wrapping up, I do want to loop in one more question from the chat. But the first thing also is kind of talk about the haters and everything. The one big thing that all these content creators said when we met them is the internet's not real. There's a lot of grifters out there. Don't always take it to heart. Some people
that's true.
Just want to do that. But I'm going to take the final two questions from the chat, and then we're going to start wrapping up this episode of Active Reload Gaming Podcast. The first one is from Brandon O'Brien. Hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Was there a time you felt like quitting, DJ, and how did you power through
it? Quitting streaming. I can't think of a time where I was like, no, I'm not going to do this anymore. I do think there was some times of burnout. And I do think it's because going back to just feeling like I have to play this game, right? Like I'm kind of done with it. I enjoyed it. It's maybe time to move on, but feeling like, well, that's what the audience expects of you. Like, okay, let me get in there. Right. And you're still enjoying it, but you're just kind of like not passionate about it like you were before. So those were those times. I don't remember exactly. Maybe it was Star Citizen. Maybe it was Red Dead. Where I was like, all right, I guess I have to stream this. You know what I mean? And that's where you feel like, I have an audience watching this. This is what they want. And so kind of getting away from that into variety streaming has been really helpful. And I don't really think about quitting from that perspective, getting burned out anymore. Because now I'm can see when I'm getting tired of a game. Well, let's switch it up and have fun with another one. So that's just me personally. Some people can lock into one game. There's a streamer on TikTok. She streams, I think, Age of Empires 2. She loves that game. She'll stream it every day, and more power to her, man. So if that's your type of stream, you can lock in like that, you could probably grow a really big audience. So, no hate to the ones that pick a game or two.
Yeah, and going off that, the last question from the chat is from Shemplu, and they asked, "Do you find that variety streaming is better or a single game from start to finish? Where do people stick around more to view?"
So I think that variety streaming is really good for me personally, and ideally you're going from beginning to end with a game. But some games, man, you just get in the middle of it. And you're like, oh, this game, this game's rough, or
Yeah.
I'm just really not enjoying it. This is not for me, right? So ideally, I get a game, and we're going to try to finish the game. I'm having a hard time finishing Elden Ring, not because I don't enjoy it, because man, you got to put some major hours into it. So that's one of the things to think about. But here's like a real quick thing, because I know we got to get going. You know what's crazy when I look about this past year of gaming? Let's say there was like 20 games that are like, hey, you stream these 20 games, and I bet you these 15 are going to do really well. It's not those 15. It's the 5 you don't even think is going to go well that are popping off the stream. Like recently for me, let me get specific. There's this Ant game that's been out for years. It's an RTS game, massive views on that one. It's been out. Nobody's, I guess nobody saw that. The Dawson game I was talking about, which is like Among Us in the Office TV shows kind of setting.
Yeah.
I was like, nobody's going to watch this one. Man, we had hundreds of viewers for that one. So I think when we think about variety streaming, there's also this aspect of being experimental with your streaming to try different things out. Because you think, oh, Dune's going to have a lot of views. It's the popular game. And it may or may not. But man, these other games that you didn't think are going to pop off, 100% pop off. And so I've kind of learned that over this past year, just like definitely, like if you're hesitant about trying a new game because you're like, oh, I don't know if anybody's going to watch it, they're probably going to watch it. And so like the Ships at Sea game, simulation game, it's just a boat on the water going just in real time to a location, hundreds of viewers, right? And so it's so weird. You can't predict it. So if you like variety, if you like different types of games, you should definitely experiment. And I think you're going to get surprised about the audience you develop along the way. So
I think the one thing that I just want to add on top of that is I have found that what I call the indie darlings is the ones to really pop off because everyone watches AAA games. Everyone knows what the AAA games are. Like I remember last year, Lethal Company is the one that really started like kicking off these like co-op slapstick like comedy games. And then like there was Content Warning, then Dawson, Repo, Peak. I think we're starting to see a lot of these games go into the forefront because it establishes genuine connection. And I think that is the most important thing with the gaming community. With that, though, I would like to thank everyone for coming for the first podcast. I would like to start doing all the outros here. Kevin,
one thing, Rampage asked, where can he get our merch? Our merch is if you go to activereloadgaming.com, we have a white one of these, a black one, and we have the trucker hats. Soon to come, I'm doing sweatshirts and mugs. They'll be on there shortly, but you can get on and get one of these right now. Just place your order. You'll get it within a week or two-ish, depending on where you live. Send it out. But yeah, I appreciate it. We love the merch too, to put a lot of energy and effort into the logo.
Yes. So with that, once again, thank you all so much for joining for our first episode. This was absolutely incredible. DJ, thank you so much for joining the podcast. Feel free, please. Where should we find you?
Yeah, SotoGaming.com. That's my website. Got everything. If you want to join our Discord, TikTok, everything's on there. So SotoGaming.com.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It was a lot of fun. We could talk for 3 hours.
Well, just
I know we got to wrap.
Before we leave, we're bringing you back next Monday. Same time as part 2 because it's a different question and series that we're doing.
What's the topic for next Monday?
Next week's topic is how has live streaming affected the games industry? And I want you to start thinking about how do game developers start approaching games? Like, is there games being built with live streaming in mind now? I want to start kind of getting into that technical side.
Yeah, I got some good thoughts.
Yes.
And
with that,
if you join our Discord, we give you what the next week's topic is. Plus, we have to give out our random code right now. And I had my wife, who is upstairs watching, put names in the hat and pull out. And she pulled out Lady. So Lady. What to do is please scan or go to our Discord. It's up in the top left. And anybody else that is in our Discord within the next 24 hours, we're going to pull another random code for Tony Hawk for Steam as well. to get that out there. So please join the Discord. Send it to your friends. Send it to your family. We appreciate everybody's help and effort here. DJ, I can't thank you enough, brother. You are a brother for life.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was a good time.
And we're gonna have him back as a fan favorite for next week. Yes, lady, you want a code. If you get on our Discord, we will send it to you. I will PM you. All right, you're in already. I will PM you or Kobe will PM you the code for today, and then within the next 24 hours, we'll pick another one out of our Discord to send that out. So again, thank you for everybody. Appreciate your help. God bless.
Yes. And with that, we will see you guys next week.